Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting for a late cash or trash. I apologize. Last night I was feeling a little under the weather. I'm feeling much better today. Still not 100%, but we're close. So we decided, normally a lot of times I miss this, I just don't do it. But I decided I had all the work done. I was going to do it. And thankfully, my man Marcus could make this work also. That's why we're going a little earlier than I typically go. So he can still have his FOC and chill here in a little bit. So definitely hop over for that. What's going on, man?
Also known as Fuck and Chill. We've got a Kickstarter to promote the start of the show tonight. End of Zed. Looking forward to pumping that one. And then we'll figure out, do the homies want to talk about FOC or do we have some drama to talk about? I know I was featured in a comic book community news video recently.
You were featured in a news video? Oh, I don't know. I think I missed this. If it was drama, then I definitely missed it. I enjoyed all of that.
Yes. It's the second time I've appeared in his news videos, and maybe they want to talk about that. We'll see, though. FOC and chill tonight.
All right. Well, we had my man GT Key in here tailgating this morning. I guess all the yesterday comments are gone. So this morning, coming back, and really was here this morning. GTK was back this afternoon. My man, Mr. Randman, though, is here right now. So we welcome to you, sir. Welcome. This is, cash or trash on a Tuesday because sometimes that's the way life works. And so if you don't know what this is, if you're new to the channel, quick background. Every Saturday, for the most part, I put out a video where we look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago and see how they're doing in the market now. This is kind of the prequel to that video. We look at the hot comics from last week and we go, okay, what do we think is going to happen in 6 months? So we can kind of we make predictions, sure to go wrong sometimes, but based on what we've learned from doing this for 5 years of, what we think and whether or not you should be chasing these books or if you should be cautious. And then in 6 months, I see how I did in my predictions because sometimes really good, sometimes not so much. So, that's how that works. Deep House is also in the house. What is going on, sir? Welcome. So how do we make predictions? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if predicting the future was easy, I'd be rich gambling every night.
This is it. This is what I always say. If I actually knew what I was talking about, then I would have a lot better collection because I'd have a lot more money. So we will see. We will see. Always a caveat. But we make predictions by throwing these books into categories, and those categories are straight cash, homie. No, that's not, little Randy Moss, Flash of the Money. We don't make this prediction very often because it's not very often that books, when they're hitting the hot list, they're usually at a peak, even if it's a long-term book that usually they settle from at least a little bit. But occasionally they continue to climb. So these do get predicted sometimes. Most of the time we talk about this more as long-term and not the 6-month video. We got our worth it. These are books that are probably priced about right. You buy in, you're not going to necessarily lose anything. You might not make anything, but you're not going to lose anything. We got our I'll Be Backs. Flip side of that worth it. Books are not terribly overpriced, but if you're patient, you can probably do a little better. We got our It's a Trap. These are books that are going to drop by 30, 40, 50% potentially. They just fundamentally, whatever's going on that's causing people to chase the book is not going to last. And of course, then we got our dumpster fires. These are going to drop 60, 70, 80%. And I kid you not, a couple of these a week at least. You can just pretty much bet on it because they're books that just fundamentally cannot sustain the prices people are paying for them. Then occasionally we'll throw in a few other things. So, that's what we're doing here. Let's see, we got anybody else hop in here? Just Mr. Randman and Deep House going back and forth. I appreciate it, sure. I'm glad I feel better too. So I am glad I feel better too. So we are happy about that. All right, let's dig in and see if Marcus can tell me where I'm right and wrong and what you guys should do with these books. So, all right, first up, we got Forbidden Planet. And I will be honest, you said this beforehand. I don't know much about this IP, this series. Apparently, I think it's been a show before at some point. This is its first comic from 1992. And it's hitting the list because Brian K. Vaughan is scripting a reboot series. That is the language they used. I don't know if that means TV, comic. I'm assuming it means TV based on the way it was written. $5 to $30 for raw copies. 9.8 hit 100. So not crazy prices. What's your thoughts on this one, Marcus?
I mean, not crazy prices. So this is something that you're excited about. I can't hate on it. I would say probably I'll be back because because again, when we get news about some project, the gap between that news and it actually being on TV is always pretty long. There's always going to be a dip. So definitely, and I'll be back. But if you're finding it for $5,
Yeah, that's why I think if you can find it on the low end, you're probably okay. I put it as an I'll be back. Also, is like at 5 to 30. 30 is probably a little high. D-Bows is saying it was an old movie, so maybe they're scripting a movie. Like I said, I don't really know anything about this particular franchise. I just know, like, generally speaking, scripting means they're still writing it, which means they haven't cast anyone yet, and they haven't started filming, which means a couple of years.
So it hasn't even been written yet.
Yeah. So he's working on the script. Birds Cover, great old movie, kind of a throwback to 50 sci-fi horror. There you go. Yeah. Thank you for the info, Mr. Ramman. Appreciate that.
Leslie Nielsen was in it.
Oh, wow. That's cool. 1956. Wow. All right. Nice. All right. We're going to move on. We got Emily the Strange back for the third week in a row. Now, we have the little bit of sanity that has come to this book this week. When we talked about it 2 weeks ago, it was like 15 to 50 raw, but there was like an $80 and a $99 sale that had popped up right at the end. Like, wow, that's crazy for a comic that's going to become an animated movie that usually doesn't support crazy prices. Then last week it was 75 to 130 with 5 sales in that range, and then 3 additional sales, 300 to 350. So the book had went completely and totally insane. This week, those 300 to 350 people are already experiencing a dumpster fire because it is settled with several sales, a bunch of sales, 75 to 150, which is still, in my opinion, a giant dumpster fire. But what do you think here, Marcus? 75 to 150, it's a bargain now, right?
Can't disagree. And as I just said on the last book, the gap between option news and it actually being something on the screen, there's going to be many dips before that happens. So if you're excited about it, wait for the dip. Yeah, absolute dumpster fire. Same as last week, same as the week before.
I just, for one, like option news never sustains the kind of values we're talking about with this book. Like books just, it doesn't happen. The book has to be this kind of value for beforehand, and then the option news can push it a little higher. It's over $100 is crazy. And B, animated stuff doesn't usually do that well once it comes out. Like there's just everything works against that. Why are people chasing this book? Other than maybe it's a little bit hard to find, probably wasn't a high print run. It's probably tough to get in a high condition because it's black and gray cover. But still, this just seems insane to me. So, all right.
Be patient.
Yeah, for sure. Next, we got the last Ronin that pops up on the list every so often. There's rumors of a video game. There's rumors of a live action movie. Well, it's not rumors. There's been confirmation of a live action movie. There's confirmation of a video game coming at some point. So this book has just kind of been relevant ever since it came out. Has sustained pretty good prices. And we got news this week that filming is supposed to start for the movie in January. I'm just going to tell you, like, if you watch Tom's video, my prices do not match with Tom's prices because they didn't make any sense with the sales that I could find. Like, I don't know. They had an average of like 180. There was no raw sales. The only thing that was anywhere close to that was like the 9.8 sales, and there wasn't very many of those, so there's no way the average was that. Raw sales 90 to 120, 9.8, 180 to 250 is what I could find on recent sales, both of which are up a little bit compared to where this book has been setting, but not a lot. This book has maintained pretty good value going through. Marcus, any thoughts on the last Ronin here?
Cool book. One that I always wished I was in on, kind of wanted, but yeah, definitely. And I'll be back. And again, same thing. option news, filming news. There's going to be dips. If you're looking for this book, you can find a better spot than right now. Yeah, same as all. I'll be back definitely on this one.
Yeah. And obviously, if you're just looking to read it, like Old Man Bob says, go find you a hardcover collected of all the issues and yeah, read it that way. So, all right, let's keep moving. We're going to move into our covers because I agree with you completely. Everything you said, I'll be back to what I got this listed at. Yeah, completely agree. Next, we got a little art germ making the list. We haven't seen an art germ for a while. This is a 1 in 100 version of the Psylocke #1 cover. Going for 115 to 130, which is not very good, really, for a 1 in 100. They put it on the list. Yeah, like a 1 in 100. Like the rules are different for 1 in 100s than they are for like 1 in 50s, 1 in 25s. But it's usually got to get closer. It's got to be about a $200 book to really have a chance to sustain. Yeah, this I got this down as a trap just based on history, even though. Hey, it's sexy Psylocke. I like that, but I don't think there's enough here to sustain this unless it gets a second week bump. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, just as you said, and 1 in 100 needs to be much higher than this to really have the life. And then the other rule that you did mention, which there is a trade dress cover.
I did forget to mention what Mr. Rayman called
trade dress cover of it gives it less value as well long term because if people can buy in at the lower rate, making them less likely to pay bigger money for this one. So number of things going against this one. I love this cover. If you love it, wait 6 months. I guarantee you get it for probably $25-50. So
yeah. So yeah, there is also a trade dress, which I meant to mention and I forgot. So thank you for pointing that out because yes, that's the other rule that usually hurts these for sure. But I don't think Betsy is not Psylocke anymore. That happened a while ago that they split them back apart. It is Kiwani now, or I think that's right. Is Psylocke, and Betsy is back to being whoever she was originally. I forget what her code name is now. So, but yeah.
Old man Bob Unreally's not here. We're at a weird time. He'll be back Monday night, I'm sure.
Yeah, we are at an odd time. Normally I do this last night, but as I said early on, I was not feeling well last night, so we're doing it tonight.
So old man Bob will need you to be the May guy tonight.
Yeah.
Until
Mr. John in the house. What is going on? This is my last next. Her neck looks funny. Looks bent funny.
John,
is it kind of an awkward position. I hadn't noticed that, John, but I think you're right. It is a little awkward.
There's nothing wrong with her neck. Whatever.
All right, next we got Absolute Superman #1, the Jim Lee 1 in 100, 130 to 200 on this one for sales. Obviously, there's a color trade dress version. I think there's a color virgin version, and then obviously this black and white. 9.8 going for 400 on a pre-sale.
That's insane.
So it really just depends on how much you think the community is going to ultimately love / support these Absolute books. And that goes for each one of them. And it's an individual thing more than a
group thing. Yeah.
A group thing. Each of these will have to stand on its own to a certain degree. All three of them were listed as like 1 of 5 when they started out. But then this week, Scott Snyder's saying that Absolute Batman is going to be an ongoing, and they plan to go for. He's got like years planned out already. So I don't know for sure what's going on here in terms of what kind of legs this will have, but I still think this is a trap. What do you think, Marcus? Am I off base here?
I'm going to call it an I'll be back. If you like the cover, it's a nice Jim Lee cover. You can probably, back to the rule before, it's not hitting double ratio. So you can probably come back and get this at a much cheaper rate if it's something that you're interested in. And there may be, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's dumb to spec on modern comic books, but if you're going to spec on Ghost Machine. But I'd also say maybe this all-in Absolute stuff is worth specking on. So I'm gonna give it an I'll be back, but a wary, risky I'll be back.
I will say Deep House talking about he likes the best. Superman's the only one I didn't get and read. So I'm not a huge Superman guy, so I didn't buy this one. I tried the Batman and the Wonder Woman. I just read Absolute Batman #2 today. It's fine. It's kind of my take on the Absolute Batman.
John AF loves it.
Yeah, loves it. So,
check out his recent video for that.
I really enjoyed the Wonder Woman. The Batman's, we'll see where it goes. But, all right. Keep moving. Speaking of Wonder Woman, we got Absolute Wonder Woman #1, the Dan Panosian 1 in 25. It was on the list like 2 weeks ago. That released for 35 to 65, which was basically right at an average around double ratio, which is usually not a good sign. 2 weeks later, it's 55 to 65. So it's a little higher, but still basically right around that double ratio. I mean, it really just depends. Again, this one, generally speaking, double ratio, 1 in 25, the rule is screams trap. But given this is kind of the first, and if this Absolute Wonder Woman becomes a thing, maybe it can buck that trend. I still put this as an I'll be back. What do you think, Marcus?
I have this cover coming to me from T-Paul. They're packing it up for me now. I'm very much looking forward to staring at it and then putting it in the pile. But as far as this, I'm going to say I'll be back. I love Dan Panosian stuff he's doing lately. We talked about that Nightwing cover. I know you weren't quite feeling that Nightwing cover, but
I didn't. Like, I've generally enjoyed the Panosian stuff. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. But I thought that Nightwing cover was horrendous. As a Nightwing fan, that does not look anything like the character that I've seen portrayed. And generally, I thought it was just an ugly person. And, like, that's not usually how Nightwing is.
You shallow people. Look at you. He's a beautiful man.
I thought he drew an ugly person. And I'm like, that's not Nightwing. So.
Well, I do like this one. I'm excited to add it to my list, but in terms of going out and paying $50 for it right now, I would not do that. I'll be back all the way.
Hey, he remains. Glad you can make it. This cover is great, but I wouldn't buy it unless it falls. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably. That's probably the case. I just went with I'll be back, but if you want to say trap, I wouldn't argue with you too hard. So, speaking of okay. So this is on the CBSI list. I tried to look up information about this book to find out for sure. So this is Tales of the Bizarro #9. And the rumor is this might be AI art, not just on the cover, but the book. But there's no confirmation that it's AI art. So, but the result of this is people are spending $35 to $60 for this book, probably because it's a pretty hard to find book. Neither Marcus or I recognize who's producing this based on the symbol.
Is that Keen Spot? That's not Keen Spot, is it?
It might be. I don't know. Like, it didn't say, and I really
not them. No.
But anyway, if you're buying this because you think it's AI art, and it like this just screams. Absolutely scream. Well, first of all, if you're like, oh, I'm just going to get this because it might be AI art. What are you doing? Like, come on, man. But the $35 to $60 for this book screams dumpster fire to me. Like, are we really going to care that there's 6 months from now about this book in any way, shape, or form? I'm with John. Like,
I don't understand this one at all.
People are still screaming about it. If I knew this was AI art, I would not support it at all. Like, I want to support artists. I don't want to support people who generate art from stolen art from other people.
That is the big question, honestly, when it comes to comic books, is will we buy AI comics? And if we will, It's the
I will
beginning of
not.
the end. But are the people going to take a stand or not? Is a very big question. And
I
I'm
don't know.
taking a stand, but I have doubts as to whether or not the majority will take a stand.
If I know it's
my doubts.
AI, I'm not supporting it because I want to support people. And I'm sorry, AI, I don't care what AI engine you're talking about, they have taken art done by real people to educate the computer. And those people aren't getting money from the art that they took to educate the computer so that it could draw this art.
When I was playing around with it, I was telling it, hey, give me Scotty Young style of this. Give me Scotty Young style of that. And it was boom, Scotty Young. Boom,
Yeah.
Scotty Young.
Yeah.
It's undeniably true that AI is stealing.
Yeah.
Undeniably true.
It absolutely steals. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're buying this because you think it might be AI, then I don't.
But this book being on a list kind of makes my point, right? Why is this book on a list? It doesn't make any sense that this book is on a list. And I think it doesn't give us a good sign for that question of will we accept AI art in our books? No. Not a good sign, guys.
I hope not.
Dumpster fire.
I put it as dumpster fire.
Come on, John. You know I'm right more often than not. You know I am.
Shots fired tonight. Shots fired.
John AF.
All right. Speaking of Keen Spot, yeah, because this is Keen Spot. This is Mark Spears Monsters. Back on the list, first print, cover A. This book keeps chugging along. I do not understand. Like, this must be one heck of a story in this issue because there are no new monsters. This is just Universal Monsters. There's no new characters or monsters here. All of these monsters are open, like, are open media. Their copyright is out of date, so anybody can use them. And yeah, so it's just people are paying for this. $40 raw copy average, 9.8 going for 150. I just have a hard time seeing this book lasting, but I've thought this the whole time, and so far we're a month plus into this, almost 2 months into this Mark Spears Monsters obsession. What am I missing, Marcus? Why this keeps going?
Lisa says that it does have new characters, so I don't know anything about that, but she does mention it does have new characters. I just want to say it's cool to see a new publisher on the list. We got that other one it's cool to see new publishers getting some heat, getting some excitement. I hope that the excitement for this book can continue and give Keen Spot a chance to really start pushing some books out and pushing this comic book medium. But as far as running out and paying premium prices for this book, that seems crazy to me. Saying the same thing I've been saying about this book every time it pops up. If you're into it, it's an I'll be back for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a trap. At $40, I think it's a trap. I think if you come back 6 months from now and we're still talking about this book at $20, this book is buck the odds and to be still worth $20.
I agree, yeah.
And that's a trap. Like, we'll see. It's getting a third print. There's a bunch of variants of it. Yeah, it's public domain was the term I was looking for that I couldn't find. And Mr. Rayman once again found it for me, so I appreciate that. I don't know. There might be something. Yeah, they've all
shout out to Keen Spot. Y'all keep kicking back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're reading it, if people are chasing it because they think it's really good, then that's awesome. Support Keen Spot if they're doing great stuff. I just think $40 seems really high, but we will see. All right, next we got, especially when you can get like a second or third print or something. Next, this was on Tom's list. I couldn't actually find an image of the error that's going on here. This is a variant. They did a trick or treat variant for the second print. And there is an error version of it. It's not a super obvious error. Supposedly there is like an almost like a printer error that makes it look like she has like a mole on her shoulder or something.
Yeah, that's it. They show it on Tom's video.
Yeah, Tom had it found. I couldn't find a good image of it. So Tom and them showed it. $20 to $100 for the error. So it's a little bit all over the place. I can tell you historically, error variants do not do well at all. They do not. So I think this is like if you're paying $100, I think that's absolutely a dumpster fire for this error variant, which appears to just be a smudge in the ink. What am I wrong about on this one, if anything?
Well, I did, and then didn't they mention something about the prices on this book being a little fishy? Like something might be going on with this book. I think they did mention something like that. So we don't know how many error books there are, what percentage it is. Are they really rare or not? These are all things that we don't know.
Did it get recalled? And if it did, that doesn't even matter very much if it's already been out.
And those are all underlying questions that like get at to whether or not it has intrinsic value for those reasons that books have value. But that's not even withstanding the fact that it's an error variant, and who gives, like, error variants don't actually matter.
Not generally, especially if they're not rare. Like unless it's like super, super rare, and even
or
then,
it's a book that matters.
Even then, even if it's super, super rare, the book itself has to matter long term. Maybe this book does. But we'll see. I have my doubts about that.
Okay, Lisa says that $400 sale was canceled.
Well, this was the price. The ones I was using were $20 to $100. I was not using that $400 sale.
Right, so, right.
But yes. So in my family, we consider my ear brother.
Yeah, Deep House. It doesn't make sense that we get all excited about an error variant. Like, what's just a mole? It's like, eh.
All right, keep moving here. Spider-Boy number 12, first appearance of Spider-Girl Christina Zhu or something, I think is her name. Anyway, the kid appears in Spider-Boy 11. She appears as Spider-Girl in this book. But we're talking $5 to $10, which is less than what 11 was going for. 9.8 for 60. So at this point, like, okay. I mean, it's another Spider character, but you're basically talking cover to double cover, which is not a crazy amount of price. That's probably a price that's sustainable for the first appearance. We'll see if she becomes, I doubt she becomes Spider-Boy and actually maintains value the way he did. He just bucked the trend, but they've also pushed him really hard by giving him his own series. But I'm just kind of like, my attitude is on this one is kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. If you want to spend $10 to get the first appearance of Spider-Girl, okay, whatever. What do you think, Marcus?
Look, usually I'm like, if you want the book, what's $10? But for this one, if you're paying $5, cool, it's worth it. But if you're paying $10, dumpster fire.
Well, I guess that's so you think anything more than cover price is dumpster fire?
Dumpster fire, guys.
All right. That's pretty harsh for you. I like it. I like this. I like this attitude. Let's see here. Hang on. Go back, see if there was any Spider Poots, Spider Folks. There's Mr. Daymers. What is going on? File that one under. Who cares? Yes. All right. We're going to keep moving. So Tom put this book on the list because he loves McFarlane. I mean, they had no real justification for this. As far as I could tell, there was no real price change compared to it was maybe up a little bit. This is the last McFarlane on Spidey. This Amazing Spider-Man 328. Raw copies averaging around $30. Obviously, less or more depending on how good the condition is, but 9.8, 138. And they were just like, hey, this is the last McFarlane. This should be going for way more. And that was the whole justification for being on the list. So I got nothing. You got something here?
I do think this is kind of an underappreciated book, kind of an understood. I think that if people knew this was Todd's last Spidey, that there would be more interest in it than there is right now. But I don't, like you said, I don't think that the prices move. This is a $15 to $30 book as far as I've been paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the money has gone up. So if you find a good copy of this for 15 to 30, I say worth it, dude. Go get it. JP was hating on the Hulk. I thought it's a good Hulk. I think
that is an atrocious Hulk.
I kind of like it.
I stand by my statement I told you before the stream that if the name tag said Liefeld instead of McFarlane, we would make fun of this Hulk the way we make fun of that Captain America. I stand by it.
Look at those hands. Look at those fingers. Look at those feet.
Okay, the
That's
hands
not
and feet
Liefeld.
are better. The rest of him,
that's not Liefeld. Get out of here.
I'm just saying that is an atrocious Hulk. I'm stand by it. The Hulk is ugly and awful. And
I had this book, but I gave it away to a friend. Yeah. But cool book.
John says it's a dumb stir fire, which I think
he said that about the pre.
And this is not a low print run book, which is one of the reasons it doesn't go for like a huge money.
But you're not going to find this in dollar bins.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. There you go. See, somebody agrees with me. All right, next. Force Awakens, Star Wars Force Awakens #1, adaptation #1, however you want to. First appearance of Rey and all the Force Awakens characters. And we got rumors again that they were going to do more movies with Rey. $15 to $25, 9.8, 160. That's really not that much more. This book is like a 10 to 25. It's like a 10 to 20 maybe instead of 15 to 25 generally for a raw copy of this book. 9.8 had been like under 100. The 160 is a single sale that has taken place since the news came out. So it's the only recent sale in the last month or so that took place, and everything else was more than a month ago before this news came out. So it was under $100 for 9.8. So that's a pretty big jump. I would just stack this under I'll Be Back in terms of the vast majority of sales, which is a raw copies. Like, yeah, it's not crazy at 15 to 25, but you can do that pretty much anytime on this book. And we're a ways from this actually happening. So any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to say worth it because it is an important first appearance. We have heard that they're planning a lot around this particular character. In fact, could be the character that carries Star Wars for the upcoming years. 20 or what is it?
15 to 25.
15 to 25 for the first appearance of such an important character, man. I feel like, if you want it, why not? I mean, I'm not going to grab this book myself, but if like you care about that and you want that, I don't see why you wouldn't pay 15 to 25 for a high quality copy of it myself. So I'm going to go worth it, even though you probably can't get it cheaper in 6 months. You probably can.
Well, and he remains says, yeah, the writing on whatever they do is going to be it's going to determine whether or not this becomes something. But here's the thing: it's not going to become something for a while. I think it's just going to return to what it's been, which is a slightly cheaper book than it's going for right now. So it's dark.
Yeah, but if you overpay,
have they made any comics from this portion of the Star Wars universe? I don't think they have yet. So.
I would be the wrong to ask. But if you're overpaying for $5 for a key like this, I mean.
Yeah, it's not terrible. For sure. All right. Next, we got a little What If #1 hitting the list, not because of anything directly related to this book, other than season 3 of What If is getting ready to drop of the animated series. So there was a spike in sales, not really a spike in price necessarily, mostly just a spike in sales. Raw copies $10 to $60. Tom had an average of 150 that made 0 sense to me, since the only sale that was 150 or above in the last month that I could find was the high sale on a single 9.6. There was no 9.8s that had sold. But they had the average at 150. Not sure. Raws 10 to 60, 9.6, 60 to 150, with the 150 being obviously sent here more recently. But there were sales mixed in there. I just put this in, I'll be back. Once the animated series is gone again, people will stop thinking about this book as more than what it is, what it normally is, and which is slightly less than what it is going for right now. Any thoughts?
Yeah, you said it all there. I mean, I think I'd come back to I'd probably say, and I'll be back for this one. It's only getting this buzz because of the news, the What If news. That buzz is going to die, but it is a cool cover. It is a cool book to have. So if you find one for a price that you like, why not? And I did want to mention 90 says there, on that last book, that first Ray. It's also the first appearance of some other important characters.
Yes, it is other characters for sure.
Yeah.
We got hashtag John AF. Storm
What up,
Thor is the book to get. Gee, John's pushing a Storm book. I'm stunned. I'm stunned by this.
Shout out to Perry's new channel, Comic Lore. Him and TK over there doing comic book things. Check them out, guys.
I mean, well, new channel. He hasn't gotten like 5 more since this one came out.
At Comic Lore 01. Check it out, guys.
I mean, Comic Lore is at least 3 weeks old. He's got to have like 4 new channels.
Yeah, the man's got ADD bad, man. He got it bad. What up to Benny Compton? Good to see you.
Ben Compton, what's going on, sir? What is happening? In the building. John pimping his channel. Don't be pimping. I'm going to block that on my. I don't want to. Don't be pimping a Perry channel on my stream. All right, we're going to keep moving. We got Fantastic Four, number 52, first appearance Black Panther. Back in the news because Denzel probably wasn't supposed to tell people, but he was like basically laying out the rest of his career in an interview. Like he's like, I'm doing these like 6 projects and then I'm retiring. And one of them was he's going to be in the next Black Panther movie. So, like, that is basically what caused some renewed interest this week. This book is way, way down from previous heights, both from the movies and from the boom and everything else. 6.0 going for 650, multiple sales, kind of in that range. I didn't really look up the rest of it because I just put this book is down. It's a great character. I realize there's no MCU potential, but this is probably getting toward rock bottom for this at this point. I put this as worth it. I can't imagine this book dropping much below what it is now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I can't disagree. Worth it. You know, when you get to this level of the book, you know, you're going to get in where you want to fit in. And if you're playing it right, you're going to pay the price you want to pay, and you're going to wait for that price to come around. And chances are that price will come around if you're patient enough. So, and we are at all-time low prices post-COVID. So it is a great time to buy in on these big-time key books.
Yeah, if you can, if this is a target, now's a good time to go after it. And it really is. If this is a book that you've had your eye on for a while, the prices are about as good as it.
John advanced forward.
Advances forward. Yeah, I don't think that's what that means, but sure.
John uncensored.
Uncensored. There you go.
John Saget.
Yeah. There you go. All right, next we got Daredevil, Man Without Fear, number 183, first battle of Daredevil and Punisher. We got some more information about Daredevil Born Again. We had the little teaser trailer with all the little teaser trailers for 2025 Disney Plus projects. So we know Punisher's in the series again. So that's why people are chasing this book. Again, another one that's like on the list, but not really higher than what it typically is, maybe just slightly. $20 to $40 for a raw copy, 9.8 direct, going for around 200. There was a newsstand sale around 400, but yeah, I just kind of put this as another worth it. It's not really that much different than what it's been going for.
I'm selling mine. It's $1,000. Hit me up. Anybody?
I just gave the prices.
Hashtag worth it, guys. $1,000 going now. No.
Robot.
This book seems like for that classic Frank Miller stuff. Yeah. If you want this book, you can find a nice high grade quality that's clean. $20 to $40 seems like an okay thing. I got mine for 10, and it's a nice clean copy. But yeah, if you want this book, I'd say 20. I wouldn't pay 40 probably, but I'd pay 20.
No. Newsstand. There you go. Yes, Marcus had a newsstand copy.
You know, no big deal.
Which I will say, if you know anything about it, from 1982, there were more newsstands printed than direct editions back then.
Don't ruin my parade, bro.
I'm just saying. A lot more newsstands than direct editions back then, but yeah. Steal it $1,000. There you go.
See, hit me up, Instagram, PayPal.
John has it signed by Jansen. There you go. All right, last book.
He's always got a big dick, me. Fine.
He's got to swing his weight around. So we got Captain America 230 hitting the list because we got a poster, and I should have downloaded the photo and I didn't do it. A poster released for Captain America Brave New World or New World Order or whatever the heck this thing's going to be called. I forget. And it's basically the Red Hulk fist hitting Sam holding the shield. So it's a homage to this cover on this poster. So it caused people to buy this book. And this book actually did spike in value, like $30 to $60 for raw copy, which is significantly higher than what it's been going for. More like 10 to 30 before this. 9.8 jumped up to 500. That's a decent little jump. Yeah, because there was a poster of this image. Like, make it make sense to me, Marcus. Make it make sense.
Yeah, it's a cool cover, Zed cover, right? It's a cool cover to have, but now is definitely not the time. This will not maintain the value. Remember the big moment in Falcon and Winter Soldier where you had the U.S. agent use the shield to kill someone, and it was like that epic moment. And like, think about how the epicness of that moment's completely gone, and it'll be the same for this right here. So 1,000% a trap, maybe even a dumpster fire.
Yeah, for sure. Trap. I mean, come on. It's a poster. Nobody's going to care. Even when the movie comes out, nobody's going to care. Unless the poster becomes great Cap cover. It's fun, but don't be paying this kind of premium. And it's not this Hulk and Cap, correct? It's not even these. It's not even these two characters. It's two different characters that take up their mantle, sort of.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And Randman makes a good point too. We've seen this before, and we've seen it spike and die as well. So.
Yep, for sure. All right, so that is our last book to talk about this week. Somebody's got a show he's got to jump to here in a few minutes. Give your pitch to get people to follow you over there in like a little less than an hour.
A little less than an hour. I got to put the kids to bed first, and I'll be jumping online. Just a show every Tuesday night where we talk about this comic book community. But if there's nothing going on in the community, then we do get to the final order cutoff. Talk about the books that you would need to order by Sunday night in order to get that special discount. So it's a good time either way. I put the link in the chat. Anybody, and I do mean anybody who wants to jump on and shoot the shit with me and direct how this conversation goes, you're more than welcome to do that. And again, we do have the End of Zed Kickstarter that we'll be beginning the show with, pumping that out, because if you want to see indie comics, you got to support indie comics. So tune in for that at Circumstances on the YouTubes in less than an hour. And
John,
don't go to John's show. Go to my show.
He does have a competing show, so there you go. But
they're going to talk about the same book for 3 hours, guys.
They're going to talk about a single issue for 3 hours because I don't know.
Come on over here.
Wait, it's on John's channel. It'll only be like 2. It's on Justin's channel. Like 3, but yeah. So, all right, gang. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. Thank you, old man Bob. Appreciate that. And yeah, we will. With that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Wait, where's the outro? Somewhere. There it is. See ya.